Now, welcome to our Zoom. We are doing Halloween recipes. We've got a variety of soup, cake, ghosts, witches' fingers, cocktails, and some really lovely sugary treats that we all want. I will spotlight myself. My recipe, not for the whole recipe. This isn't a ghost in my kitchen. This is from my... It looks like something on my shoulder.
Behind you, Jane. What is it? Ah!
Now, you will notice that I have a beautiful black Thermomix here, and obviously the original amazing white. And that's because the black is available. So if you know anybody who wants black, if you're tempted to go for a second Thermomix, we have incredible offers on at the moment. 36 months interest free, a free bowl if you pay in one time, or buy one, get one half price. So if you've got friends, neighbours, children who are after a Thermomix, please send them our way, because November is gearing up to be a hugely busy month with these amazing offers. And as we all know, we don't want a Thermomix on Christmas Day. We want a Thermomix before Christmas Day. So please, any nibbles of interest, send them our way. Right, my recipe, I will start posting the links once I've done. We've got on the call, we've got myself, Jane, we've got Eleanor, we've got Joe, we've got Sarah, we've got Emma, and we've got our lovely team leader Claire. We are going to make for you ghost meringues. We're going to make a mystery soup. We're going to make an amazing cocktail. We're going to make millionaire's shortbread with a twist, and we're going to make some witches' fingers and an amazing spiced butternut squash cake. So a real variety that will show you lots of different aspects of the Thermomix, hopefully give you lots of inspiration. I'll get started with my meringue ghosts, which I'm slightly concerned about because after me is Eleanor, so that's the order. Right, so my ghost meringues, let's get started. Preheat your oven to 135 degrees. I've got my Argos. I'm going to put it in the lowest temperature. Just whatever you do, don't go above 130 because they'll come out not white. Line your baking tray with a baking mat. And then we're going to put our sugar, 270 grams of sugar. Obviously, this is just granulated sugar because it's nice and cheap. And we're going to grind it. I'm sure you've all done this, haven't you? So 270, click on next. Oh, would you find me the measuring cup, please? I'll just do that for now. Put your measuring cup on top, and for 20 seconds, we're going to mill this sugar on speed 7 to grind it down to icing sugar. Pour them around. You could do this with. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can't hear me.
We can hear you. You just
make rice flour, chickpea flour, lentils, grind your coffee beans, grind your spices and everything like that. So that is, and I love it once you've ground your sugar because you get this amazing sugar cloud. Okay, so bizarrely enough, I was quite surprised by this recipe. We're not adding sugar gradually, we're just throwing all the egg whites in. At least I hope that's right. So whisk. How does it go in, Claire?
It goes to the left, Jane.
Lefty. To the left of the highest knife so that it's pushing it round. There's a video on your Thermomix if you're unsure of how to put your whisk in. Okay, so that's the amazing thing, is that it's quite hard to go wrong. 100 grams of egg whites. Now with meringues, as we all know, they can be quite temperamental, and a few tips are to have your eggs at room temperature, to have fresh eggs, and that's it for now.
And a clean bowl, an absolute sparkling bowl.
And so this is just out the dishwasher, dry. Because exactly that, Claire, because I think with other food processors, maybe, I don't know if it's a plastic bowl, it can keep some of the oil residue on your bowl. So having a metal bowl is right. 100 grams of egg whites. Not saying anything. It was 4 egg whites, in case you're interested. It's 115 grams, hopefully we'll be okay. 2 pinches of salt. like that. Thank you, ma'am, for the, and then, oh, you don't need a measuring cup. Put your lid on without a measuring cup. And it's gonna, 10 minutes, it's gonna whisk, because that's my other tip, is don't go too fast when you're making meringues. Obviously with the Thermomix, it's all preset, so you don't have to worry about it. But I think if you whisk it too fast, the strength, it can collapse. So I'm setting this to 10 minutes and it's 37 degrees and it's slow. It's on speed 2. So it's going to take quite a while. And in the meantime, I'll set it to go in a minute. In the meantime, we're going to go to Eleanor. Are you good for us, Eleanor? Where are you? There you are. If you unmute yourself, because I muted.
Right, done that. Okay.
Yes.
So my sticky treat this evening is the Millionaire shortbread with a twist, although I've taken the twist out because my kids don't like the twist, which is some nuts added in. Now, the beauty of doing this, obviously Millionaire shortbread, you make in stages. So you do the shortbread, which I've done already and cooked in the oven. But the one thing that I was amazed by when I made the caramel, you're obviously going to very, very high temperatures of cooking. Which if you followed, say, a Nigella recipe, which I used to make this for the kids when they were little, you spend a long time putting your toffee sauce effectively into the microwave, bringing it out, whisking it back into the microwave, out, and it takes an awful long time and a lot of effort. This, we just put it all in and the machine does it all for us. So I am now at the stage, I'm just going to show you, I've made my shortbread in the tin earlier, so that's all cooled and ready to take the toffee sauce. So first of all, 120 grams of granulated sugar going in. That's perfect. Then we're going to go into unsalted butter. I've already weighed it, but it's 120 grams as well. Then obviously your key feature of this is your condensed milk, and conveniently it's exactly one little pot size of that. It's quite sticky, so I'm just going to use a spatula to get it all in. Sticky but delicious. This is not the healthiest option for Halloween, by the way. There we go. That's all going in there. Lovely. And then you add in 80 grams of golden syrup. So let's just measure that in now. That's a couple of good squirts of this. Perfect. And then literally, I'm going to pop the lid on, pop the basket on top, and it takes 35 minutes. So I'm going to come back to you later and you can see what I've got out of this. I'm very impressed. It goes up to 120. So obviously it's doing all the work for you and you're just mixing it very slowly on speed 2. So let me turn it to speed 2 and I'll see you in 35 minutes.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. What we will do is, Joe, if you're ready, we're going to come to you.
Yes.
As my eggs are still cooking. So Joe is our resident nurse. She's come straight from work.
I'll take these off because otherwise you can't see my face. Yes, I've come dressed for the evening in my lab coat. So I'm going to make spiced butternut squash. So I've got some lovely sparkly Sarah pumpkins on here. I made this yesterday so you guys can see it. So it's made in a bundt tin, which is one of these, which is the raw wet one, but you can use any bundt tin. But this is actually really good because all the recipes are for the exact measurement, so it doesn't kind of spill over. And then it's got a maple glaze. Well, it's supposed to be a drizzle, but it didn't come out as a drizzle. It came out as quite thick icing, so I've just kind of like put it on top. So let me just get the recipe up. In a sec. Sorry. So start by preheating your oven to about 170 degrees. This is an American recipe, so it's in ounces and Fahrenheit, so you just need to convert it. So I've already got the oven on preheat and I've greased my bundt tin. And then we're going to add 8 ounces of butternut squash. You don't have to add butternut squash, you can add any pumpkin. And it says to peel it and dice it, which I have done. You don't need to cut it as small as I cut it. And it literally is a shove it all in cake and it mixes it all itself. Then we're using corn oil, so it's got no butter in this recipe, it's just using oil. And I don't know if anyone's used corn oil in a cake before, but I really like corn oil in a cake because it actually makes it really moist, but it gives it a really nice depth of flavour. Then 2 large eggs. I've got quite a lot of sugar. So it's got 6 ounces of white sugar, which again is just granulated sugar. And then it's got 6 ounces of brown sugar. It doesn't stipulate, but I've used dark brown, so it's just going to be a bit more kind of treacly. A teaspoon of salt, which I forgot to get.
This is the way you can just see all the steps are combined, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't have a Thermomix, you'd be sifting, you'd be melting butter, you'd be creaming the butter and the sugar, and
I think you'd have to probably cook the butternut squash. It's got Chinese five spice in it, which I think is
nice. So
kind of
sorry, Jo, I
awesome.
missed that. The butternut squash is raw.
Raw, yeah, not cooked. So it's just raw and cut up. Everything. And then it's got a teaspoon of baking powder. And then a teaspoon of bicarb. Oh no, hang on, I've moved too quickly. And a teaspoon of bicarb. And then you literally just pop your lid on and mix that for 20 seconds.
I'm willing that ghost to move.
Oh! So it's just mixing everything together at the moment. It's still happening and that's all.
Sort of.
Sort of. Throwing everything on there. So it's basically blitzed all of that. Oh, that's nice. I've just dripped it all over the side. So it looks like a big load of goo. Scrape down the sides. And then you literally just pop the flour in, and it's just all purpose. So it's just plain flour.
How much flour? That didn't look very much.
8 ounces.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I've dropped the lid. The dog will lick that off on now. Then we're popping the lid back on again. And it's mixing it for 10 seconds on speed 4. So it's just combining that flour in, but not mixing it too much, because otherwise the cake will be too stiff.
I'm liking the look of this cake already. I do like it all in one, shove it all in.
I know, this is my kind of cake.
Yeah.
And it's just getting you to scrape it down again, just to get rid of that like residual flour that's stuck on the sides. And then it does another 10 seconds. And that's it.
Can you hear me?
And then I'll just pop it into the bundt tin, and it takes, I think it's like 40 minutes to cook. But then you get this delicious cake. So it's quite thick. This one fell apart, I thought earlier.
Yeah.
And then the glaze that goes on the top is maple syrup, butter, and milk, and icing sugar.
So it solidifies when you put it on, does it?
You have to, yeah. So you then have to let the cake be completely cold, which is why I made it yesterday, because it's not going to be cold enough to put the glaze on. I'll scrape the rest out in it, but then that's it. Done in the oven. 40 minutes.
Amazing. Thanks, Jo.
That's okay.
Sarah, are you okay if we come to you? Because my eggs are still whisking, so I'm gonna highlight the place, but I'm gonna bring you in. Is that the right camera, Sarah?
Oh yeah, are you on? I'm on the iPhone. Yeah.
We're looking at you now.
Yeah. How do I turn it
camera?
round? How do I turn it round, Johnny? No, it doesn't matter actually, does it?
So,
Can you see me now?
yes.
That's perfect.
So what are you going to cook, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm just going to turn the volume on. Hang on.
Is Johnny dressed up as well? Is that a thumbs up? Thumbs up or thumbs down from Johnny? Are you dressed up?
Right, I just had to turn the other one off because it was getting in the way. No, Johnny was going to go in the loft and get the screen mask, but he hasn't bothered. So I am making mystery soup. And I'm not really going to be doing very much, but it's a recipe that I've tweaked a lot. It's the season for soups, and I'm thinking of my favourite soups. One of them is the butternut squash with brown butter, maple syrup, pine nuts and sage. And the other one I made for the first time this week was cauliflower with shredded chicken and a sort of taco seasoning. And that was really delicious. I mean, it was a meal actually. But I did find, has anybody else made the chicken stock? I made it for the first time, and I think it's quite salty. Anybody
I made
else?
it, but I only put half the amount of salt in.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because it was just a little bit over salted. Right, anyway, back to my recipe, the mystery soup, which I've tweaked. It starts off with putting bacon in, 100 grams of bacon, and sorting it in the Thermomix. However, I went on one of Kate Lamouse's courses, and she had this recipe, or not a recipe, but she used this bacon as a garnish. And I just thought it was amazing. And you basically get streaky bacon, put it on a layer of parchment paper, put another layer of parchment paper on top, and then another baking tray on top, so it's flat. And then you bake it in the oven at about 160, I did, for 30 minutes. And then you've got this fantastic crispy bacon, and it just adds so much depth. Whereas if you don't Thermomix, it would have been fine, but it would have been a different sort of bacon. And this just is so good that I was going to have, I had some soup for lunch, and I got my one strip out and put it on the work surface. And when I turned around, it had gone, and my dog Ruby was licking her lips. But listen to the snap. Oh, well, you didn't probably hear the snap, but it's just very crumbly and crisp, and I love it. So that was the first tweak. Next thing, you saute it, obviously, take it out, put it on a bowl, take in the bowl, put it on side. Then I put in 1 onion, a garlic clove, and I chopped it for 5 seconds. And then I added the olive oil and some paprika, and without a measuring cup, cooked it for 5 minutes. Voila. So all pre-done. The next step was to add 500 grams of pumpkin. Now, I've never used pumpkin, and I didn't really fancy using it. So I have used butternut squash. And the other tweak I did, which is really from the butternut squash soup that I like with the maple syrup, I roasted it in the oven for 45 minutes. So I'm going to pop this in, all roasted. And yeah, it is about 500. I wasn't sure of the weight.
Did it have skin on, Sarah?
Yep, you roast it with the skin. So ever so hard to cut up, but just at least you haven't got to slice it all out of the skin. So no, you roast it with the skin. Okay, and I'm just going to chop it for 7 seconds. No, 10.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the amazing thing. We'll come back to you when we do the blend, but not having
Yeah, so I've just
the skin.
Oops. But of course, because you roast it, the skin is really soft. So here it is, I've chopped it. I probably could have chopped it for less than 10 seconds because it was pre-cooked. Whereas the pumpkin, in the recipe, the pumpkin would have been fresh. So now we want 250 grams of water. I'm going to add just a little bit more. I don't know why. I just felt that wasn't very much water. Okay. Oh, and vegetable stock paste in my freezer. I hope that everybody has made their own vegetable stock paste. And it's a tablespoon. So as you can see, because it's been in my freezer and because of the sugar salt content, it's not frozen, it's like slush. So there we go. And now, oh, bay leaf. Whoops, actually have a bay leaf. Bit of salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon. And oh, some pepper. Today I bought a big pot of peppercorns and I just ground for about 30 seconds, about 1 ounce. I love that because it takes forever if you're trying to use the pepper grinder. And I was popping the simmering basket on. and cooking for 20 minutes. So I will see you all later.
Thanks, Sarah. We'll come back to you at the end.
Okay.
I think it's also really good
Would you turn it
to
round?
see and understand the blend of the soups and things, because I think there aren't many other blenders that can that are as powerful as the Thermomix. Now my eggs are whisked, so that was a 10-minute whisk, and
You're supposed to do it over your head, Jane. Over your head. Go on. You know you want to.
put
There
a
you
whisk
go.
bit in it, so that might fall out. But there we go, that's as good as it's going to get. And then all I'm going to do, this is how simple this recipe is. And a little tip so that we don't have to do a Christmas one. We will do a Christmas one. Just add Greek colouring to it, and then you've got Christmas trees.
Exactly.
Or Valentine's, add pink, you know. So yeah, a very versatile recipe. So I'm not going to do the whole lot. I'll just show you a little bit.
The sugar and the eggs went in
So,
together.
yeah, it had all the sugar in at the beginning, because that was another tip, to add it slowly. But
Oh,
I guess
that's
we
maybe where it
whisked
went
it for
wrong.
10 minutes. So it's a huge time to be whisking.
Do you want me to hold
But
that?
I think I think it's about being slow and sort of going for longer. So I've got this piping bag. It's got no nozzle on the end, because I don't need any special shape. I just need it to come out in ploppy ghosty shapes. So if I,
No,
that's the technical term. Have you not heard that? So
flop,
this is this is not all my mixture, but it's just to give you an idea. And now I'm the most, I don't decorate cakes or anything like that, because I just don't have the patience. So if I can do this, then anyone else can. So sort of do a plop, and then a few other, and then
your children were in the room.
da, 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 and then you've got I've got egg white all over me. You get your chocolate chips, and then you just put a couple of chocolate chips in. And this is as faffy as I get, really, but these I think look really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to pop those. I'm going to do a load of those, pop them in the Alga, leave them for an hour or so. Yes, please. And that,
Oh, that's a silly word.
yeah, that is my ghosts. So whilst my kitchen help completes that, I will
Kitchen Toto.
I will carry on. So we are going to go to Emma, who is doing the cocktail, the recipe we all wanted to do. I've just got to find Emma. Sorry, there she is.
There we go.
Thank you, Emma.
You hear
Tell
me?
us, what are you making?
So we are making where is it? We are making horror punch today. So horror punch, which you can have either non-alcoholic for the kids, or you can then add a little bit of vodka, which I will show you in a minute, for those older people that need to get through Halloween. So, first of all, it wants us to put our simmering basket into our bowl. Next, we're going to drain our cherries. Now, I have already drained the cherries, and they are there. So I'm going to skip. So then I take those and put them on the side, and I've now put them into here. Next, I'm going to, I've got some lychee.
Ooh, fancy.
And I'm going to take a lychee, and I'm going to take a cherry, and I'm going to squish him in to make an eyeball.
You're enjoying that too much, Emma.
Yeah, a little bit too much. Yeah.
And then for the kids, we leave them like that and put them in the thing. But for the adults, I soaked them in vodka.
She's really scaring me.
Sorry?
You're really scaring me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a couple more. And that. And, oh, drop my thing. So, lychee eyeballs are made. Now, we're going to put sugar, like Jane did. So, good old, just granulated sugar. Tar it. So, granulated, we want 20.
20. How much have you got, Emma?
A little bit more. We'll go to next. Now, it wants some ginger, which is great for this time of year as well, to away all those colds and nasties as everyone's coming down with everything. So a bit of ginger is always good. So I'm going to put some ginger in. There we go, which I've cut up. Now, put my lid on with my measuring cup so that my little pumpkins don't get sugared. And it's going to be 5 seconds. Right. Scrape down the sides. Sugar and ginger, 5 seconds. Amazing. Right. Whoops. Now it wants 2 lemons in my cordial.
I think you're taking this Halloween stuff too seriously, Emma. Just say.
So it wants whole lemons, quartered and pitted, so without the pits. So again, another good thing for vitamin C. So between the ginger and the lemon and the vodka, shouldn't get a cold.
And even if you do, you won't know anything about it.
Exactly. And you won't feel quite so, yeah, you won't feel hardly. Right, let's get those pips out. There we go. There we go. Okay. Right. Now it wants the cherry juice, which is what I strained earlier, and I strained it into the jug. So
what cherries did you buy? They're not like maraschino ones, are they?
They are maraschino ones, which were in the liqueur. And then I also did get some cherry juice as well, because it wanted 400, and obviously the drained ones weren't going to be enough for 400. So I've done a mixture of the two. Let's do this. There we go. Right. Now it wants, now there's my lychee. So I've kept my lychee syrup. It wants lychee juice. Lychee juice is quite hard to find. So I'm going to use a bit of the lychee from the tin. And I've also got some pear juice because I think that works quite well with it. Do you like my cup?
So, like your goblet.
Goblet. So, there we go. Right. Now it wants me to insert, so put with my measuring cup. Now it's going to blitz it for 2 seconds. Right, so now, actually, I'm going to do it in here. I've got my jug. It wants me to pour the mixture through a sieve into a jug. So,
Do you just have these cauldrons hanging around your house?
I do. It's one of my, I mean, I use them a lot. When you, right. There we go. Now, it says, place the jug. Now it says onto the measuring lid of the jug, but I'm actually going to put it directly.
Oh,
You don't need to have the jug in. You can put it directly onto there, rather than having to balance it on the jug. So now it wants 400 grams sparkling water. That hasn't brought the scales up. So I'm going to go to my 3 little dots on the top right-hand corner where you can preview your recipe and your recipe details, and also you can access your scales while you're in the middle of a recipe. So I'm going to go to my scales and want sparkling water. We have Soda Stream. So I'm going to add sparkling water. Now my jug isn't very big, so I'm thinking I'm going to put a bit of it into my cordial, ready for later, and then I can add a bit more water. So I'm going to do a bit more. So back to my scales. So I added 100, so I'm going to add another 100. There we go. Right, added my sparkling water. Now let it defizz. I'm going to add some vodka soaked eyeballs. In they go.
you say that with so much pleasure in your voice.
No. In they go. And I'm going to add a bit of the vodka.
Of course you are.
Without the scales.
Emma, have you been sampling a few of these?
Now it also asks for ice. And so I've got ice, but I've got lumps of ice in my other cordial that I haven't crushed, and it wants crushed ice. So in the new bundles, with the black and the white Thermomix, you can buy an extra bowl for £49.
Yep, 49. Yep.
49. So it is always, I mean, for that sort of money, it's always good to have a second bowl. So I am going to go on to my home setting, and I'm going to go across, and I'm going to go to chop. And in chop, they've got a crushed somewhere. Where are you? Here, crushed ice. So I am going to my ice cubes in. My lid. And you can go to set, and it's 3 seconds. It's going to be quite noisy, and I'm going to crush my ice.
Well, the beauty of Zoom, eh? It's going to be quite noisy and we don't hear a thing.
Just get to see me with my eyeballs. Right, so it's got crushed a lot of it. I'm going to crush a bit more because it's still quite solid. So I'm going to go back in for another 3 seconds. It's coming. Right, that's much better. Great for any cocktail. So I'm going to add some of my crushed ice. I can also then put them into my glass. So there's my eyeball. There's my juice. With a bit more ice. And another cherry for good luck. There we go, all done.
Amazing. Thank you, Emma. Right, Claire, how are you getting on?
Done anything yet?
I don't want to say, you know, Halloween's over and Christmas is coming, but
I just didn't get the memo. And you know,
what are you wearing? Tell us what's going on.
I'm going to hide my chips for later. Hang on. Put those there. Wait, oh, I can't find anywhere to put them. I'm going to put them in the oven. There you go. I'm going to stick them in the oven, then they're away. What am I wearing? I'm wearing the alternative Halloween costume. That's what I'm wearing.
Inclusivity at its best.
We went up into the loft. There was just nothing there. That's all I can say. Right. So am I? Is it me?
Yes. Go with your witch's fingers, and then once you're done, we'll just quickly nip back to Eleanor and Sarah.
Cool.
So go for gold.
Right. Well, again, this is another one sort of similar to Joe's one, as in you chuck it all in. It just takes a little bit longer at the end because you need to rest the dough for 30 minutes in the fridge before you bake it for about 15 minutes. So I'm not going to make you hang around for that time. I think Jane said at the beginning, we're just going to all post the pictures of our creations at the end. But in terms of making them, I mean, it's basically just shortbread. So they look hideous, but they're quite nice, dunked in a cup of tea. So start cooking. There we go. So preheat the oven. I did that about 2 hours ago, so it's nice and warm in here to 180. Then line a baking tray with obviously here's one I made earlier. And then we're going straight in. So 120 grams of soft, freshly made, here's one I made earlier, butter, go straight in. So turn your scales. There we go. Then raw sugar, so I always use Demerara for raw sugar. Again, 120 grams straight in. And a teaspoon of natural vanilla extract. So I make my own, just because I like to have vodka in the house as well. So just vanilla pods, vodka, and then just top it up and add the, you know, new vanilla pods. I'd probably add another 2 or 3 once a year and just top it up. Top it up with vodka, and no, I haven't been drinking any. So 1 teaspoon goes straight in.
How long does it take when you put the vodka into the
What
vanilla
develop flavour and colour? I probably left mine in probably 3 or 4 months the first time, but I mean, I've been using this bottle now probably for 3 years, and I just keep topping it up, taking out some of the old ones and adding in some new ones. So, okay. That's vanilla straight in, then lid on, up in, and 30 seconds speed 4.
If anybody else has amazing Halloween recipes, do share them on the chat. Because I think that's what it's all about, is just sharing tips and advice and recipes. Oh God, there we go. Oh, is that fish? How lovely. Anyone trick-or-treating tomorrow?
No.
No.
Driving home.
I have to. I don't like it.
No, we've got to the stage now where we just turn all the lights off. So
Yeah.
we've done the whole cemetery in the front garden, and my eldest son sitting in the middle of the road on the floor, cross-legged with a great big skull on, just literally sitting like that, scaring children. And now we've moved on. Right, next stage. So for 10 seconds on speed 4, I like these ones. It says, turn your speed selector, meanwhile, following the next step, ... So I'm going to do that. So 10 seconds speed 4. And the next step is an egg. Egg going through the hole. I always worry that that's actually going to decorate the ceiling, but we're good. There we go. Click next. Now we're going to scrape down the sides. That's what we're looking like at the moment. Trusty, handy, ugly spatula. Scrape down. 300 grams of plain or all-purpose flour straight in. Again, as Joe said, no sifting needed with a Thermomix. Quarter of a teaspoon of baking powder. Just checking I got the right one out. Yep. Lid on again. This time do put your measuring cup in or you will end up looking like a ghost. And 10 seconds, this time on speed 8. So this one does say on that step, it does say until well combined and prolong the time if necessary. So let's just have a look. I think that's fine. So just a nice shortbread. And then all we need to do is get our trusty tray and what's the word for that? It's not ramekins. Baking mat.
Baking mat, there we go.
I knew I'd get there in the end. But it says transfer dough onto a silicone baking mat or a lightly floured surface. That's another reason why I like these, because I make enough mess. And with one of these, you don't need to add the extra flour. So that's all going on there. Remember, you can just twizzle the underside of the blade to release the dough. Look at that, all out. Tiny bit in there. That's it. Oh, down the bottom. No turbo required, no turbo, it's all out. That's fine. And then, now this is, again, I slightly, like Sarah, like to ignore some of the instructions, because this says using approximately 1.5 tablespoons of dough, roll into a finger shape, approximately 8 centimetres in length. I don't measure and I don't use a tablespoon. I just sort of bring the dough together. And I love these doughs because they just always come together. Look at that. And then I'll just sort of, depends how fat you want your fingers to be, I suppose. The recipe is supposed to make 24. But
That's a large finger.
well, it might be a giant finger. So you could make a selection of which giant and, you know, small child fingers, depending on what you want to do. So depends how big.
Those of us who just want one biscuit with our cup of tea.
What are you trying to say? I like a large finger in my cup of tea. It's got to be worth it. So literally, that's all you're going to do is, you know, you can do the 1.5 tablespoons, but to be honest, I find that really quite hard to get 1.5 tablespoons into a chunk of dough. So I think just use your common sense, and it's supposed to make 24. If you only end up with 6 fingers, you've got some really serious giant, you know, twitch fingers going. And then all you need to do with them then, so you're putting them on your tray, and it says repeat until you get to 24. And then can you still see them there? Yeah. And then all you need to do, so, is some homemade jam from earlier in the year, still going. You just need a little bit on the end of your finger. Like that. Oh, that's quite a lot. And on the end of that one. There we go. Oh, that's quite a lot. There you go. And then, now this is, if you've got nut allergies, you can use pumpkin seeds as well, but obviously you'll need a really slim finger for that, otherwise it'll just be lost. But just put your almonds in there. That one in there. Then it tells you to use a sharp knife. And then all we're going to do here is lick the jam. before I pick that up. And all it wants you to do is just sort of make some little indentations there, like that. And then, yeah, done. Oh, you have to make the knuckles. That's what we were doing. That was the word I also couldn't think of. And then, there it is. Dust lightly with some cocoa powder to make them look like withered, aging fingers.
Delicious.
Oh, amazing. There you go. Ooh. Oh, yeah, slightly filthy, homeless kind of fingers. And then place your fingers in the fridge for 30 minutes to firm up. And then 15 to 18 minutes, and that's it. And they are like super easy. They are really nice. I avoided doing these for years because they do look hideous, but they're really nice. It's just shortbread.
They
What's
are
that?
so gross, aren't they? But yeah.
Really, really simple. So, especially if I can make them. So that's it for me. So I'm going to put them, obviously I'll make the other 633 small fingers. And then, yeah, do them, put them in the oven, and I'll take a picture when I'm done, because that's all I need to do with mine.
Nice one, Claire. Thank you very much.
Well done,
Thank you
Claire.
for the pictures fingers. So Eleanor, how are you doing? Are you okay if we come back to you?
I am. My timer has literally just gone. So great timing. And I'm absolutely thrilled with what we've got here. I have sat, I'm just going to try and show you into the shortbread. I've literally just sat here, letting it do its thing. So, and if you look at this, I've got the most perfect caramel there, which I'm just going to tip. It's really smooth. There's no lumps or bumps in it. I've checked the temperature just because I can't believe that it does it like that, and it's exactly as it should be according to the tips. So we just pop all that on, and then obviously this needs time in the fridge to set. And the next step with the Millionaire Shortbread, as you know, is to do the chocolate topping, and that is also done obviously in your Thermomix. You obviously need to clean your bowl, but you just put your chocolate in, and it melts it in. Doesn't take that long, about 30 seconds or 40 seconds. And then once this is cool, you just put the chocolate over the top into the fridge, and it's absolutely delicious. My top tip for this, because it is highly calorific and it will go like that in my house, is that I do the squares now, and then when it's all cool, I'll chop it into squares, and then I actually freeze it. And if you pull this out of the freezer bit by at a time, so if you had, I don't know, wanted a sweet treat after supper, or had Auntie Nell was round suddenly for a coffee, you could just pull them out and they defrost literally in a minute, and they taste fantastic from the freezer. So I think it's a great recipe. I'm amazed by what the Thermo can do sometimes.
Thanks.
I can't wait to make that one. I've never made shortbread.
It's just so easy. So
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's probably my favourite biscuity treat of all time,
Mm.
but I've never made it because I know I'll eat a lot. So the idea of freezing it, I've never thought to freeze it.
No.
That's such a
Really
good
good.
idea.
And actually, if you catch it at the right time, the caramel can almost be a bit chewy because it is slightly frozen, and it's delicious.
Oh, brilliant one. Thank you. Well done. Sarah, we're good to come back to you to see the end of your soup. Here we are. You're on camera. We can see you.
Okay, no, you don't need to see me. I've lost Johnny. Johnny's disappeared.
Did you make a spell?
I did. It was a magic spell. So I've actually done this ahead. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Hang on. Sorry, I'm just moving around. Excuse the mess. I can hear myself.
No, all I can see is a sharp knife and blood.
Yeah, lots of sharp knives. Have you seen my nice knife? Hang on, where's it say? Look,
Oh my God.
Sarah's Thermomix.
Oh,
Yeah. Watch out, Johnny. Okay, back to the recipe. So it's one of the ones where it says increase the speed gradually from speed 5 to speed 9. So you turn the speed selector round to 5, and then you have to keep an eye on the countdown, and you just gradually build it up to 9. I can still hear myself. Can you hear me twice?
No,
we can
you
hear
sound
you once.
fine.
That's all right then. Okay, so there we are. Now, after I'd done it the first time, I had a little look at it and I felt it was a little bit thick. I did think that water wasn't enough. So I added about another 100 grams. You could add more. It is a thick soup. And then I'm going to decorate it now, one-handed. So a little bit of sour cream, my delicious bacon bits. Johnny did have one of these. He was desperate to try it. And he did say, the taste is so intense. And then this is my little special garnish because I'm not very Halloween-y. I found some monster feet.
Is that
Oh,
Monster Munch?
It's
Does it
Monster
like-
Munch.
Monster Munch.
There we go. I'm going to take this through to Johnny now. But it tastes
Oh, very
really good. And you could add a little bit of maple syrup to it as well, to just have the sort of sweet and the salty bacon.
I love that.
Look at look at my cloth.
Yeah,
There
we're
we
so
go.
far removed from about a month ago when we were talking about healthy eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely zero ultra processed crisps involved in this recipe. It's brilliant. Love it.
It should have a bit of parsley, but I haven't got any parsley. I'm not buying a whole thing of parsley just to decorate things. Parsley very rarely occurs in any of my recipes. Okay, bye.
Bye, Sarah. Well
I wonder
done.
if
That's amazing.
Johnny's still alive. Is he still alive? You haven't, done him in.
No, he's going to enjoy this.
Okay.
I hope.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. Well done, everybody. Anybody else got anything to show? I think we're at the end, which is
Which?
well, which is
Which?
is the case. Well, they're in the oven. Meringues are in the oven. They're going to take a long time, but I might not post a picture of my meringues on Instagram. There was one perfect one. There was one perfect one, and then a lot of dollops. Let's just say. But,
Is that because you got your mum involved? She had one job.
she didn't appreciate being called the kitchen help, and she obviously doesn't want the job again.
Here, Jane, look, I've just taken the cake out of the oven so that we can see it. It rises up quite a lot, but
That's amazing.
I know, and it's so easy.
And does it come out of those tins? I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever used my bunsen.
Yeah, it's non-stick, but then you put a little bit of the corn oil in
Yeah.
and then leave it till it's cool. And when
Yeah.
I leave it on the rack, I leave it upside down. So then
Okay.
the weight kind of pulls it.
Pulls
And
it
then
out.
when it was cold, I just lifted it and it just slipped out.
Amazing.
And I tried it
Looks
while
fun.
I was sitting here waiting, and it's really nice.
Well, that's good.
I,
You've got quite a lot now for the surgery.
Yeah. I'm taking some to work. They'll eat it.
On Bake Off, which I haven't actually watched this season, but I happened to put it on last night, and they were doing their show piece or whatever it is, and they were making cakes, and they had to use vegetables in it. So you had carrot, beetroot, courgette, but nobody had butternut squash. And that would have been very good on it, Joe.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to enter the Bake Off.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
We'll all be nominating you.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you everybody for your recipes. Lovely to see you all. I'm hoping we have recorded it. So colleagues, if you've got customers who couldn't make it, let us know and we can share the video. Remember, the black is back. And anything else we need to talk about, Claire? Just
0%. So yeah, 0%. So the Panda, buy two get one half price, single payment only, or buy a black one or buy a white one, and you can do that. Well, again, you can do that on single payment, and then you get a free bowl. Or if you do it on finance, you can add a second bowl for £49 over 36 months. I think.
If you want a baking mat, like a lot of us have
Yeah.
used tonight, host a demo, and you can get one for free.
And we'll come to your house dressed up for whatever the season is. We might wear an apron, but we're good value for money, if nothing else. Food might not be edible, but you'll have a great evening.
Lovely. Thanks, everybody. So nice to see you. Happy Halloween. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.